Well, hi, this is AdrianSnell, and welcome to my music room. This is where I write, record a little bit, and also where I work as a music therapist here in Bath, hence the rather unusual range and type of instruments surrounding me. But this is about something else. 30 years ago, we recorded and then premiered the work Alpha and Omega in Jerusalem, Israel. I remember that day incredibly well. And I also remember that we had no idea, those of us involved in that performance and the recording, what might happen next. All I knew is that Alpha and Omega had a very powerful message, but a very difficult message. And would there be an audience for it? Well, to my astonishment, over the next 8 or 9 years, that work was performed on most continents of the world in about 160 different places. And it involved tens of thousands of people singing in the choirs, many fine musicians, but most of all Dave Fitzgerald on saxophones and flutes and Dave Bainbridge on keyboards, who was also the co-producer of the album. And then finally, some years ago, we felt that was the time to say, okay, we've toured that work long enough now, time to move on. Well, this year, it became clear for lots of reasons, not least actually the situation in so many parts of our world, that Alpha and Omega still has something very important to say. And I felt really sure towards the end of last year that we needed to celebrate the 30 years since it first came out with a series of concerts. And then that led to the idea of a new recording. And one of the reasons why a new recording is so important to me is that I always felt a little bit disappointed with some of the soundscapes on the album, but also the fact that over the years that we toured the work, the involvement of choirs, singers grew so much that by the time we were touring that work in sort of the early 2000s, it was in total contrast in a way to how the album sounded. So, towards the end of October this year, we're going to do 3 concerts in Holland. They will be recorded live, and then after that it'll go to the studio for lots of work, post concerts as it were, ready for the release of the new album, the 30th anniversary version of Alpha and Omega, in February or March 2017. And to my delight, Dave Fitzgerald, who was with me for the vast majority of those concerts, will be back in the picture, as will Dave Bainbridge and several other absolutely fine musicians. Actually, some of you will probably know the band Iona, and of course Dave Fitzgerald and Dave Bainbridge were founders of that band, and they met and formed the original Iona during an Alpha and Omega tour many years ago. So I have kind of a special relationship with them and with Iona as a result of all that. But why this video? Well, obviously, I want you to come to the concerts, want you to get to have the album next year. But as you know, we live in a very different time when it comes to the whole way of selling and financing, funding album CDs. Crowdfunding has become something in the last years that was never even vaguely possible when I was a teenager or in my early 20s. And this is where we want your help. This is the beginning of a crowdfunding campaign where we would really ask you to help us fund the majority of the recording of this work. It will be quite costly. We need funds, but the idea that you, my supporters, our listeners, would be the people making that possible is just so special. And you will find out all the information about how to do that on my website and on my Facebook page. And as you know, with the whole crowdfunding concept come perks. You will read about those too. And if I can draw your attention to one set of perks that delights me too. I had no idea that when we were touring Alpha and Omega, very often Dave Fitzgerald made sure that the concert was recorded off the mixing desk. Well, we were in the Baltic states when Gorbachev was placed under house arrest, and in a period of 6 days, effectively the Soviet Union collapsed. And we were amazed and privileged to find ourselves touring Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, actually during that time. We were kind of a part of history, really. And unbeknown to me, Dave recorded those concerts. And for the very first time, a few weeks ago, I heard the concerts, and there is an extraordinary atmosphere around them, and also some of what I was trying to address in my spoken word. Well, we have those recordings, and they will become one of the perks, the things that we'd like to offer you if you're prepared to help support us in this. Importantly, whether or not you can help with money, please spread the word through Facebook, Twitter, whatever other means you have. We depend on you for that. There is a fantastic opportunity for access out there now, but it does need people. It needs my friends, my supporters, those who believe in this, to take part. We hope to see you if you are Dutch or if you are near to Holland, late October, for the concerts. And because they're going to be recorded live, of course we'll be recording some of the audience sound as well. So you could be on the record too. This is an appeal to you to help us do this. And thank you so much, not just for listening to this, but for the extraordinary faith, belief in my work over many years. So many of you have given. It means more than words can ever say. Thank God for music. Thank you.